everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm still setting things up a little bit. Oh, 1 second. I'm still setting things up, people, so feel free to stick around, listen to some chill music, and I'll get this started as soon as I can. Still setting things up. I'm almost ready to start. There's just a few technical difficulties on the server side of things. But it looks like they've been fixed, and should be very interesting. To the viewers that are here already, feel free to drop any questions that you might have that you want me to cover during this session into chat. I will answer them, either if it's already a question that I'm covering today, I'll answer it at the time that I have it scheduled in my head, at least. If not, I can either answer it right now, or I can answer it during or after I can slide it in. This is a really kind of, it's an unstructured kind of stream in a way, or it's partially structured, I should say. The whole point of this is to share my understanding. Oh, hold on. Okay, all right, things are set up. We're about to start. As I was saying, this little stream session is different from my usual content, but it's a session that I do like to want to do on a weekly basis. This is kind of a here, come in, learn something new about the game, learn different play styles, learn how to think differently, whether you're a new player, whether you're an advanced player or a veteran player. I've already had 3+ years in this game, and I'm still learning new things. I'm constantly on the lookout for new things, and people still come up to me and tell me like, hey, I found this cool thing, check it out. And it's not limited to Hell Let Loose, I would say. I would say this kind of mental thinking, this kind of gameplay style can be used in pretty much any FPS game. And I hope you will enjoy the content that I bring. I'm not gonna cover absolutely everything that I have to offer during this first session, but hopefully this is gonna be a recurring theme going forward. At the moment, I'm gonna be doing this on schedule every Saturday at 10 a.m. While the other sessions that I have, and that's just general gameplay sessions, maybe some chilling afterwards, I'll be doing that during the weekdays, during the morning, but I'm still not sure on exactly which days. My schedule is currently going to different places, and I can't even figure out right now what days work for me at the moment, especially next week, so it's gonna be so busy for me. But generally speaking, weekdays are gonna be just general gameplay sessions, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. is gonna be the slightly more structured kind of ask me anything, learn the game kind of training class thing, if you want to call it that, a course. And so I was hoping my friend would join me today. His name is Daly. Well, not his real name, but you know what I mean. He was planning to be here. I don't know where he is right now. Maybe something happened. Hopefully he's okay. But I will begin. And if he comes back later, I might cover things I've already covered. So I hope you're not mad at me for that. For now, let us begin with, let me take a look at my list and what I want to cover right now first. I think, I can't really do mind placement until I have somebody else join me in game, so I can swap to a specific loadout. So I'm gonna forgo that portion for now. I think I will start with something that is foundational to not only my gameplay style, but also to the, just I would say, even general understanding of playing the game well. And that specific thing is understanding the map. It sounds very simple, but it is a very important thing to understand. And so what we have here, this is a great website, by the way, in case you are not familiar with it. It is mat2tsw.io, maps let loose. I will drop a link to it in chat. Let me see. There we go. That's one. That's two. I'm multi-streaming right now, so I'm posting it in a few different places. This is a great tool that a lot of veteran players are using to come up with strategies, to look at where garrisons are. For example, if I select, let's see, where is the thing? Like, for example, if you're playing an offensive map, you can tell where the initial 3 garrisons are based on the select defaults visible here, and that's both sides. Maybe I want to get rid of one of the sides, that's fine. But you can tell exactly where those garrisons are. In offensive, pretty much half of the teams are using it. And a lot of it is actually memory, so a lot of people already know where stuff spawns. But generally, this is how you can find things out. This is a great tool. And for official matches, too, a lot of veteran units and whatnot, they use this tool to come up with strategies, because you can draw on it, like so. Come up with little lines like, hey, squad A, you're going to be heading down that road, etc. And so, yeah, that's what I used. That's what I used too when I was coming up with strategies as commander for our official scrimmages in the 16th. But for now, back to the main topic, and that is maps and understanding maps and knowing how to read them and etc. I'm not going to cover most of the generic knowledge, like, hey, this is the green line is most likely a hedge or a fence or something. That's self-explanatory in a way. These blue lines are just paths, dirt paths. What's important to note are the locations of the strong points. That's the hard point circle right there. And the main thing to understand is that even though two-dimensionally the point may be approached from any direction, people do not stick to that general direction. They follow paths based on the map. Because there's open ground, there's bad angles, or something else that might come up. And so I will instead show you the general paths that people take. If, for example, you are on the German side and you are defending Verville-sur-Mer, the Americans are most likely to either attack straight on. That's the main road paths right here. They are probably going to take the south side of the road because the north side is just open field. There's a little fence they might be able to use for cover, but it's not really that great. But generally speaking, they are going to be on the south side of the road. There is open ground right here, but the next path that they're likely to take is going to be over here. They're gonna come down. There's a bunch of fences here. There's a few sheds. There's another fence right here that you can't see. But generally speaking, this is the direction they're gonna take, and then they're gonna come up these buildings here and go up. They might cut through the field here. I'm gonna make that as a dashed line here. Oh, cool. But generally speaking, those are the two main routes. They are also likely to attack from the north. So that's going through these structures here, this little compound north of Guerrilla. They're gonna come around here. There's a fence line just south of that line, and they're gonna come down the road from the north. These are the three main approaches. Then you might also have something like they might take a wider flank and then meet up and kind of do the same thing. What is also important to note is obviously you're not limited to these columns. In the 16th we play one life event, and we are limited in the play area to the columns that you're in. So you, for example, if you're on the ally side, you cannot go past this line into the D column. So that limits the strategies that you and the enemy can utilize. But in general warfare matches, what is going on is you can go anywhere that you want, and you can cut around and get a nice wide flank going that way. But what that tells you is very important. What that tells you is that if instead of covering the entirety of 360 degrees around the point, what you really need to focus on are these four main routes in. And that is a lot easier to defend, even just mentally to think about, rather than focusing on every single degree. So as defenders, you're gonna want to set up some defenses here. Oh, let me change that to a solid line. Let me change the color of that too. As defenders, you want to set up here, you want to set up here, you want to set up here, and you want to set up back here. So that's only four routes that you're blocking. And this is not just important for defense, this is also important for anybody who's trying to go into a guerrilla warfare kind of mentality, is understanding paths that the enemy is likely going to take tells you where you should, for example, set up your ambushes. It also tells you that even if you are looking for garrisons, you want to set up somewhere near these locations, for example maybe here, kind of hide and let the enemy go through, just to see where the enemy is running from, so you can determine where they're spawning from and take that out instead. Hell Let Loose is a game about control, and to control the field you need to control the enemy, and to control the enemy you got to control where they're coming from, what they're doing. Best way to do that is to eliminate any of the enemy spawns. Now, I will be covering ambushes and ambush kind of tactics later on during the session. But let's see if I missed anything else. Moving around the map. Pathing, yep. Alright, so enemy pathing. We've already gotten through a little bit of it here. But understanding enemy pathing means you understand where they're going, what they're doing. It also tells you where you should be as well. If they are taking this wide flank, you want to set up somewhere near these houses, for example, and cover anybody. Make sure that they don't use this route. If you want to make sure they don't use this northern route, you may want to get somebody set up here before they even get close to the point. If they're already by the hard point, that means your front line has failed, or your first line of defense, that's these X's right there. Oh, what's going on? I have failed to control the enemy route. And if they're here, that's already a danger to your team. You can also set yourself up somewhere around here. This is a little bit tougher down there because they can pretty much enter from any direction here. So you may want to set yourself up closer to round ping and control that. Over here, controlling this compound is a very good idea. It's controlling that flank. And so that is your first line of defense. Before it ever gets into the hard point, before it ever gets into your actual physical defenses, your barbed wire, your barricades and whatnot, if you're defending, that is your first line. That is your second line around the hard point. The third line of defense, that's your final stand. That's everybody maybe inside the church. You're pretty much screwed at that point. A single satchel on that church can destroy your entire defense. So, as defenders, controlling those first points of defense is key to controlling everything else. Now, let's see. Garrisons, likely garrison spots. That is an excellent idea. I am going to keep that, John. I may want to... Oh, I can erase that. Nice. Garrison spawns. Understanding where people put spawns is key to finding them. You don't even need to spend half an hour of the match just trying to find a single spawn, because if you follow these simple rules, if you follow this understanding of where people place garrisons, you will control the game. And so let's move on to actually no, let's keep ourselves on Guerrilla. That's a good point. I think it's usually the most common point on Omaha. I believe it's random number shows up a little more often than the rest, so let's use that as an example. So for the Americans, if they're attacking Guerrilla, first of all, no matter what, this is before even my previous thought, no matter what, people generally like to put garrison on the point. Now, with Guerrilla specifically, they are probably not going to put a garrison here, even though it could be a decent location. They are definitely not going to put it here, so you can pretty much ignore this entire quarter of the hard point, because that is an extreme open area. You never want to have a spawn there. Maybe an OP, but it's still a bad idea to do. Most likely it's going to be in the hard point. It's going to be either on this side of the church. It could be anywhere in the south side. It might even be here. They might also put it a little bit off hard point, maybe in here, maybe in here, but those are like your secondary locations where you should be looking primarily. No matter what, you will want to look inside the hard point and find a garrison there. That's gonna be 90% of any match that you play, is there's gonna be a garrison inside the hard point. Super easy to understand. Let's keep that as a big blue X. Most likely it's gonna be there. If they're smart, they might put it off point. Sometimes to do that, like I said, 90% it's going to be inside. But also what that means is that garrisons have to be 200 meters away from another garrison. That means they cannot have it in any of... Can I do a little circle thing? Believe that might have been possible. It doesn't matter. It cannot be anywhere. Try to move that anywhere inside this range. So you can, if you find a garrison there in the hardpoint itself, that means you cleared out any possible location might be within that red circle. And that is extremely, extremely good to know, because a lot of what you need to do about understanding about finding garrisons is that process of elimination will get you much further than going to specific spots per se. And so you got your garrison here. Let me get rid of that. Let me see. Okay. You got your garrison here. That means they can put, let's say, if the Americans are controlling this middle sector, they're likely going to have a garrison in this town right here. That is outside of the EF columns. That means even if they do lose Vieville-sur-Mer, they are going to keep this garrison. Anytime you lose a point, you lose the garrison, any kind of spawn that you have on there, including nodes. But that is their next most likely location, is anywhere in here. Some people, especially new people, they might make a mistake and they might put it on the other side of the border. But that's, you can double check that if you don't find one here and see for yourself. If they're smart, they might even put it a little bit further back. That's usually a good idea, just to change the expectations a little bit and put it only where you believe it matters. In general warfare matches, that doesn't really matter that much. There's a lot of new people going around. It's not really that straightforward, but in official matches, you may want to think creatively about this. And so to continue with this kind of thinking is that if there is a garrison here, there is very likely a garrison there. And this is even before they take point. If they're attacking, if the Americans are attacking Vieville, you may want to check that anyway, because that is very likely where their garrison is going to be no matter what. That general kind of, let's see, this square is general where they're likely going to place one down. Yeah. But so what that means is that 200 meters away from that garrison, the next likely location for one is going to be in this sector here. Now this is where things get a lot more complicated, because there's a lot of places for somebody to hide a garrison, and so it will take a lot longer for you to find a garrison in that location. But generally you may want to check this corner out first, as that is 200 meters away from the garrison up north of that, and it's still 200 meters away from the garrison at Vierville. Those are backup garrisons. If they are creating backups, even if a battery is not a point that you worry about, if the point is Vierville, they may still place a garrison somewhere on battery for a flank. They're likely gonna get a garrison over here. And again, all of these spots are 200 meters away from each other. This is a little close, but I believe you can squeeze a garrison here as well, and that's still 200 meters away. This might be a little close, so this is a little questionable, but I believe it's possible. There's gonna be likely a garrison in this sector here. It might be on this side of the road, on the south side, if they're taking Church Road. That is not 200 meters away, so it's likely to be further up. It might even be a little bit further up here. There might be a garrison in this compound here. Anyway, so if, for example, you're on the German side, attackers are holding Vieville-sur-Mer, these are the locations, the general locations you may want to look at. If they're smart, they might even put a garrison here instead of in the hardpoint. But these are the general locations that you want to look for. And that means you're not searching all the quadrants around. That means you're not looking at the entirety of the column grids. You don't have to check every single numpad key, coordinate. You just have to check these most likely locations, and these most likely locations are definitely gonna net you at least one, maybe two garrisons. And so what I like to do as a guerrilla warfare minded player is I take a white flank and I take out their back garrisons first, their defensive garrisons. So if I'm on German side, I go around, maybe I take this route here through the let me see. Maybe I take this route here to the north. I might take a wider flank if that doesn't look good. I go around, I check that compound. I look for any spawns there. Then I head south. I look for any spawns there. I head further south. I look for any spawns there. At that point, I'm not really too worried about battery because there's a lot of open ground for them to cover. So I take that mentality and go from the south and go through the south side of the point and look for any garrisons south of it and inside the hard point itself. And then if that succeeded, I go further out. I either stay in a point and wait for any defenders to come back in to try to get a new garrison set up and etc., and just wait for my team to catch up in the frontal assault, or I keep going and take out their attacking garrisons. I might also do a similar kind of thing going from the south side. I might hit up these spots. I may hit up artillery battery, then head north and look for any spawns in that sector up there. Then head inside the point. I might head north and then head inside the point from the east route. I wonder where Daly is. Damn. This is the section of the explanation that he really wanted to hear about. Too bad for him. Let's see. But generally speaking, 200 meters away, garrisons. That's your lucky spots. That's hard points. Any hard point, there's likely to be something inside. If you're not thinking about hard points, but rather thinking of where they might be putting stuff down, the teams generally place garrisons in the corners of the grid squares. So right here, that's a corner. Right here, that's a corner. Here's a corner. A lot of people learn how to play that way. Again, you don't want to put it on the other side because if that point goes down, all your garrisons will go down too. That means you want to put your backup garrisons on the outside of where the approach is. This is, again, the general strategy of garrison placement. This is not a hard set rule. It's just that some people prefer to do this. It's easy to understand, easy to fit a lot of garrisons around the point. If you really want to stack defenses around Rearville, that's what you want to do, is have as many garrison locations. And that means they're most likely going to be in the likeliest of places. But if you want to play it smart with your garrison placements, what you want to do is to change your expectations a little bit. Even if it means a little bit of extra running, you may want to put a garrison a little bit further back. That way you can put a garrison there. This is going into more advanced strategy, and honestly, it's not that big of a deal, because if you're following the guerrilla mentality, you aren't doing as much shooting as you normally would. Your primary objective is going to be to destroy enemy spawns. And that means waiting for the enemy, watching where the enemy comes from, and deducing where that route is. So for example, if I'm searching for a garrison in this location here, because again, there's a lot of spots that they can hide one, I may want to set myself up in one of the buildings, in a bush somewhere. Let me change the color of my position. There we go. I might set myself up, hide in a building, hide in a bush, and just wait for the enemy to run. They might run down this road, they might run straight past me, they might run that way, they might run that way, etc. But I know for sure that they're taking this road to run from their spawn. That means I wait for them to pass me. I might shoot them, I might not. That really depends on the situation. But I might then reposition myself. I might reposition myself in this building. I believe that's a building you can enter. Hide and watch the next spawn wave. If they're coming around the corner, that means I'm heading that way and trying to find a spawn there, and bam, there's a spawn there. Great. If you're playing as a recon tank, checking the likely locations is always going to be your best bet. They're probably going to be hiding it inside building backyards, especially in this sector here, but on any other section, really, it's not that blocked off that you can't get a recon tank in to destroy that garrison. One thing to note is that the garrisons in the back lines, if this is the, let's say if the middle sector is the conflict zone currently that both teams are fighting for, and one side is defending, the other one's attacking. Let's say you're on the US, or the US side has control over Vival, and you're flanking around trying to find their back garrisons. That means the garrisons that are, let me put that as a purple line. The garrisons behind this purple line are gonna take a lot longer to destroy. And so what I like to do, even though it's called guerrilla warfare and recon classes seem like they fit that role perfectly, and in a way they do, because you can put a spawn anywhere on the map regardless of who controls the zone or not, or how far behind enemy territory that is. I'd say that is the biggest plus of the recon squad, is putting the RP anywhere, and you don't lose it if your people lose the point. That's also a big plus. But a lot of times I don't run recon, actually. A lot of times what I do is I run AT, and the reason I do that is because of the rockets. I go in, instead of waiting for, like, I don't even remember how much the timer is, maybe 2 minutes, just dismantling that garrison there. What I would do is just get close enough to the garrison to see it, shoot it with a rocket, and not even waste time, because good commanders will spot that loud garrison, and good commanders will try to strafe you. If there's somebody nearby and they notice it on the map, that it goes red, they're gonna run back and try to find you and kill you, and those 2 minutes might be just long enough for them to do that. And not only is the garrison still there, but you now have to spend time to getting back to that location to try to destroy that. Hopefully your squad mates, at least, or your squad leader, has enough communication and experience to mark that spot on the map. If you tell them, of course, you still have to tell your teammates that you found something important. But hopefully your squad leader has enough sense to call that out in command chat and put a mark on the map for other people to see. They might be close enough to get to that before you respawn and go back in. But generally, I just prefer to run AT, just shoot it, destroy it right away, take out any supplies that might be there, and keep going. I don't want to waste my time. But that unfortunately suffers from the point that if you die, it's a lot much longer run for you to take if you're not playing recon. What is important to note here in this specific instance is that it is a very good idea to get a good commander and ask the commander to drop ammunition for you behind the enemy lines. It doesn't matter where you drop them, as long as it's reachable by your AT players. For example, if I'm playing command on the German side, I would drop them maybe in these, let me change that actually to a different color. I might drop an ammo crate here. Oh, solid. There we go. I might drop an ammo crate here. This is actually a good point, good place to drop, just in this valley. I call it the death valley because pretty much any vehicle is going through that. Setting up an AT ambush spot anywhere on this road is a great idea to get rid of any armor before it even gets into the fight. I might get some supplies down south or closer to the start. Just somewhere behind the enemy lines, that way your T players don't have to redeploy, they don't have to run back to try to get their ammunition back, especially if they're not running with a support player. The support player usually sticks around squad leader, not AT, even though both benefit from that. One good idea is to bring a Jeep with you. A Jeep has 2 drops that you can make that drop ammunition for you, and that includes explosive ammunition. So get a Jeep, just drop things, make a quick, especially right in the beginning of the game, if you can get a recon squad, or if you can do it yourself, just grab a Jeep, just drive around the flank, drop ammunition crates along the way, and then hop out and do whatever you want. That's a pretty solid strategy. But generally speaking, you want explosive ammunition behind the enemy lines, so that your ambushers, your AT, anybody who needs it, your satchel guys can just take that satchel nodes if they see them, put mines down on the roads, etc., and get that done. I don't see that happening as often. That's why whenever I'm playing the game, I always ask my squad leader to ask the command to drop an ammo crate behind the enemy lines. Let's see. If you know, speaking of Death Valley, yeah, if you know, because this is a very likely route that the enemy is going to take. Let me change the color or the size of that to make it more noticeable. This area right here is what I call the Death Valley. And that is because, as I mentioned earlier, vehicles like to use that route to get to the front, to get through. Infantry likes to use that route. You can get vehicles over the ridge. There's plenty of paths that you can use to get that up. Let me get rid of those. Yeah. There we go. But that's Death Valley. There is some paths that you can take to get vehicles up. Like, for example, this one right here. If you're spawning North HQ, you may want to take that instead of going along the road here by Dog Green. If you're spawning further south, you may want to take one of these paths above instead. But what I see a lot in Warfare matches, you may want to take this path up as well. What I see a lot is that no matter the HQ that people spawn, they just drive all the way up to this road. And let's do that. Yeah. They just drive to that road and they take that road. As a guerrilla-minded person, as an ambusher, this is exactly what you want to see. This kind of mentality, when you're understanding the paths that the enemy takes, you understand where you need to be. And so in a situation like this, I can post myself anywhere in these houses. I can post myself up on the hill. There's some neat bushes there and whatnot. You can get mines down on the road in different places. And so you can control a lot of what the enemy can and can't do in the front by controlling these paths before they even get there. I might even set myself up further down if I want to. Let's see. Do we have any questions from chat? I wonder. Not that I can see. Ambush tactics, that's a good thing to cover right now. Yep. Let me swap over to little thing that I have here. Let me see. Slide. Let's start from the current slide. All right. Now this is what I call a presentation on ambush psychology. Let me put myself up there, that way you can see it a little bit better. Yep. And so, or am I just, no, definitely not. Yeah, I think this is good. All right, so ambush psychology. It's important once you figure out your location where you set up an ambush. That's maybe along that Death Valley Road, or it could be anywhere else. It could be on a different map. But if you understand the path that the enemy is taking, the next step is for you to set up an ambush. If an ambush is the thing that you're going for, and that means that, hey, if the enemy is, I'm not on the right page, there we go. If the enemy is starting from the west, and this is their path, the gray is their path, and they're heading down that path from the west to the east, first thing to note is their zone of comfort, as I like to call it. And that is, for example, this is the red around that enemy squad. And this zone of comfort extends out in a kind of oval shape. That's how you can picture it. That's how I like to picture it, behind the enemy. The blue is they're unknown. They are not sure if there's anybody in that blue area. This is where they haven't cleared it. Now, the reason why this zone of comfort extends behind them in an oval shape is that not only the immediate area that's right next to the enemy is good for them to they're comfortable with it because they're right next to this area, so it's not a circle just around them, but because they've cleared this area as they went along, they feel comfortable going back to that area in case something happens. That's why I call it zone of comfort. They're comfortable falling back to that area and still feeling safe about it. But if the squad is deep into enemy territory, it doesn't really extend that far out to the sides. And that means they're still worried about what is in the blue. They're worried about these ambushers here. And so if you spot the enemy squad, you're one of these X's, you spot the enemy squad and you start shooting right away, what happens is the zone of comfort extends out to the sides to make it look like basically a wall. Instead of controlling the enemy squad, instead of killing them all outright, you've allowed, in this instance, to allow the enemy to feel safe retreating back the way they came from. They also feel safe that there's nothing going on their flanks, and they're only worried about the people in front of them. This is what you want to avoid. Unless you're playing on a specific defense, you don't want the enemy to do much. But this is geared more towards guerrilla warfare, the ambush goals, where your goal is to kill the enemy, not just stop them. And so what you want to do in this instance of an ambush is, instead of firing at the enemy as soon as they come into view, is you allow them to go past you. And that means when you open fire, their zone of comfort shrinks significantly. They are not just worried about you, the guy that's shooting at them, but they're also worried about going anywhere else. They cannot retreat the same path that they've already taken because you cut that off. They're not feeling safe about it, but they're also feeling nervous about going anywhere else because they are in your territory, because they are in enemy territory. And so even with one person just hitting them in the ass, their mobility is far more limited. And so even you have two, and it's much better to have two ambushers instead of just one, but you can do it with one. I've wiped squads completely by myself on many occasions in not only in warfare, not only in offensive, not only in official scrimmages, or not only in drills, but also in official scrimmages against professional teams. But it's always better to have 2 ambushers so you can lock them in. Now, what is... you can ignore that. What is important to note is that there's a few things... Let me change that, yeah. Let me actually give you an example of an ambush that I've done along this road. This was in a One Life event with my unit, and what happens is we were defending WN71. That was this point. That's our defense point. I'm going to draw a little shield there to make it obvious. And what happens in a One Life event is that as defenders, and that's a 20-minute round, we can be... I wish I could make boxes. I feel like it was possible to do before. I might be forgetting. Because this divisible elements may change. No customizable element selected. I don't remember how to do that. But anyway, in a One Life event, if you're defenders, you can be anywhere in the defensive grid. For example, the allies are defending. They're defending W71. They can be anywhere in the contested area. In this case, the contested area is the GH column. And then your own defense area or your friendly territory is anywhere behind you. That's the IJ column. So that is like, this is completely safe area. The enemy cannot even be here. This is the contested area. I'm going to mark that as yellow. And this red is the enemy territory. Anything west of this is all enemy territory. I'm going to remove those X's because they're kind of getting in the way. And so, because this is a One Life event, keeping yourself safe is a priority. Keeping your medic safe is an especially important priority. What I've done is I looked at the map. I've realized that, hey, the most likely approaches that the enemy is going to take is going to be through this road to come up from the north. Oh, I don't like how it blends in. Let's keep using orange then. It's going to be through this road to come up from the north. It could be through the frontal approach. And this is not like the exact route. This is a generalized route. You never want to really think about an exact too much. General will get you further than you ever need to, honestly. And they can take a longer flank from the south to attack that point. Now I decided to set myself up in this sector right here. This is pretty much a funnel. That means they have to go through this funnel along their route. They could be anywhere inside of that funnel. They might even go a little bit further north, honestly. But I set myself up in a location where I can oversee anybody entering this route. And so what I did is I set myself up on the house right here on the border. Oh, whoa. I did not do that. What? Let me get rid of that. Come on, there we go. And so I set myself up on that route right here, right by the border. And it happened exactly as I predicted. The enemy was taking that path. They weren't taking the road exactly. Some people were, but they pretty much have gone through right next to me, right underneath me. And their plan was to keep going along the road. And I followed my strategies. I followed my rules that I'm going to keep talking about later on because there's a few more elements that I haven't mentioned yet. And so I did not fire at them immediately. I followed followed that ambush psychology slide mentality. I did not fire at them immediately. I let them get past me a little bit. I called it out to my teammates, like, hey, there's a squad here. It's heading this way. My team knows now where the enemy is. And by the time they went over here, this is an open area. This right here is an open area. And that is exactly where I started shooting. I shot at them in the back. They're not comfortable going further. They're not comfortable falling back. They're not comfortable to go to the sides. One is, this is an open field. They don't want to go to that side. They might feel comfortable enough to go this way instead. Let me make that's a little too wide. Oh, close enough. They did take cover over here inside the buildings there. If I had a second ambusher with me, that would have been much, much cleaner. But they're not comfortable going into the field to the south. They are a little bit more comfortable, but because it's still enemy territory, they're scared to go there. And so I fired at them. I downed a few people, and they kept being scared a little bit until somebody found me. They located me, they started shooting at me, but I followed one of the steps in what I do when I set up an ambush, and that step is having an escape route. And that means when I set up an ambush, I not only have my primary hiding spot where I'm gonna be ambushing from, but I also have secondary spot or spots where I go to run from the enemy in case they find me. It's unlikely that you can ambush and destroy the entire squad unless you have an MG just right away in your first attempt. The goal is to harass the enemy, to kill as many of them as possible. But one of the things to keep in mind is that you want to keep yourself alive as much as possible. That way you don't, if you're playing warfare, you're not wasting time on respawns and etc. But that also means even if you fail to kill all the enemies or even one enemy, you're alive to do it again. You're alive to kill more people later on. And so I found my secondary hiding spot. I set myself up. There's a bush around here that I set myself up in. I hid in that bush, and because this is their enemy's territories, so that's my friendly territory, their enemy territory, they're not comfortable to keep going knowing that there's an ambusher behind them. So they decided to, like most people, they've decided to go back and to try to find me, to kill me. And because this is a one life event, that is what the smart thing to do is, honestly. And so they came back, they found me in my first spot, I ran to my second spot, and so they were trying to find me, and they were coming around both sides trying to find me, flanking around, going with the road, and etc. And as they did that, I kept popping them off and killing them one by one until they were all dead. So that's how you survive and eliminate an entire squad of enemy people in an ambush. There's a lot of other things that I could have done in this instance. For example, I could have place mines. Mine placement is actually a pretty important thing. So when you've found your ambush location, what you want to do next is not only figure out where you're waiting for the enemy to be to spring that ambush, but you're also checking around. And let me switch to the game in this instance because you can see it a little bit better. There we go. This is me on Omaha. Oh, that's not it. Looks like I don't have admin cam. Damn, that sucks. I guess I'll just give it an example here. Let me see if I can find a good spot for it. Alright, if your enemy is going down this road, they're running down this road, they might hug the wall, etc. Oh, this is actually better. and you sprung your ambush. Maybe you're firing from, what is this, north. You're firing at them. The first thing that they're gonna do is jump back over the wall to hide behind it, to hide in these bushes, and etc. And when you're thinking about ambushing, this is exactly what you want to think about, is not only of where the enemy is going to be at when you're ambushing them, but also where they're going to be going next to hide from you, to hide from your shots. And that is exactly where you want to set up your AP mines. I don't have any on this loadout right now. But hiding mines in the likely locations that the enemy is going to hop over is one way to bring more chaos to the enemy. Let's see. Might as well go through, since I'm already in game, I might as well start showing you guys some cool shit, because and again, I'm not going to be covering everything during this session, so feel free to join me next week at the same time, 10 a.m. I'm going to be going over even more stuff. But I'm going to be showing you two important things of note of what I keep in mind as I'm running along in every single match that I'm playing. And these two things are, number one, hiding spots. This is where I can set up an ambush. This is where I'm hiding from the enemy in case I run into them, just to get an advantage of them. It could be bushes, it could be hedges, it could be some kind of cover, etc. Let's see, etc. And number two is parkour. This is your vertical element of going outside the normal pathing routes. This is going outside your floor. This is your ground level. And I'm not talking about just going inside an upper floor of a building. That's not parkour. That's still what I consider to be a normal pathing route. But going outside of it. And I will show you exactly what I mean as I go through here. So first of all, hiding spots. There are different types of vegetation that you should keep in mind. One type of vegetation is what I like to call a hard hedge. This is this thick green one right here. This is the hedge that you cannot jump over. This is the hedge that you cannot shoot through. This is hard. There's some cool things you can do with it, and I will show that to you later. The next thing, what I want to show you is what I call a soft hedge. That's these light green ones right here. Both of these hedges are pretty much on almost every single map, especially the US and German maps. And so what is interesting about these soft hedges is, number one, you can shoot through them, you can see through them. In a lot of cases, you can jump over them. So keep that in mind. This is actually a pretty cool strat that you can do. You can jump over them. And what is also interesting is that you can get on top of them. If you run, sometimes like in this instance, you can just jump over from the side and get on that. If that doesn't work, you can always do it from the short side of it and get on top that way. You can hide inside of it. You can wait for the enemy to pass. You can shoot at them from here. A lot of times what I do is I don't use that for close quarter combat as much. I mean, I use it if I have no other choice, because as you can see, there's a lot of shit in my face right now. A lot of things that prevent me from seeing things clearly. But in a lot of cases, I may want to use it for long range fire instead. For example, I might hide in a hedge here and then shoot anybody else who's peeking there in the windows, maybe as they're running through the field. And that means my silhouette is not exposed by just hiding over the fence here. My head is peeking, and I'm also kind of exposed here on the sides too. Oh, 1 second, I need a drink. Feel free to ask any questions that you have, by the way. I'm not so strict about this kind of stuff. In some cases, keep an eye out. Soft hedges have no physical geometry at all. That means your character can just walk through it. Like in this instance, you can hide inside of it pretty easily. You can walk through it. You don't have to run alongside the hedge to get around it. So just check things out. Like, hey, this looks different. Let me try to go through it. That's a pretty important mentality to have. Then we also have these bushes here. These are the big green thick ones. These are my favorite bushes to hide in, especially with a dark German camo, because it covers you up pretty nicely. You can go prone in them if you need to. You can be a bush Wookie. Some of the other bushes are lighter, so that you want to make sure that your camo fits that bush perfectly. Right now I'm running a dark camo outfit, so I'm gonna ignore anything that doesn't really fit that camo that much. I might still use it if I have to, but generally speaking, I'm trying to avoid contrast. Now let's go a little bit further down the road, and I can show you guys a little bit more. So what I'm also looking for when I'm running are places where fences meet vegetation. This is what I call a combo. And so, like, again, here, I can go prone, get a little bit of height so I don't have, like, grass in my face. I generally don't like to be prone on the ground level. I prefer to do it at a slight elevation, at least. Like here. That way I have a little bit more visibility. But these combos are great. I'm always on the lookout for them. I'm also on the lookout for anywhere that I can do parkour, like in this instance. And there's a combo right here where the fence meets vegetation. I can hide in the vegetation here. It's blocking my silhouette. But at the same time, I am located in a position where I can fire on anybody taking this path. And this is a likely path that the enemy is going to take if they're attacking whatever that point is. For example, I think that's Church Road, if I remember right. So I understand enemy pathing. I set up an ambush on the road, and it's also located on the border for anybody who's doing wildlife events where border control is important. Not to be political about it. I love Omaha, and it's my favorite map. And one of the reasons for that is because these hard hedges, in a lot of instances, you can get on top of them. Some maps don't allow you to do that. Omaha is one instance where you can. I believe SME is also a popular map that you can do this on, but in a slightly less amount of instances. But what you can do is, if you just run, you can never do it on the long edge of the hedge. You have to do it on the short edge, like right here. You just run at it, and you're able to climb up and hide on top of the hard hedge. And just make sure your camo is good enough to hide in it. You never want to be in snow camo, for example, up here. And so I might set myself up here. I got excellent elevation. I got an unexpected position. I set myself up on the enemy path. And I also have great view over the fields in these two directions, as well as the road here. Maybe if I have a sniper rifle, I can see anybody coming that way. A lot of instances, though, you're not able to do this. Like right here, for example. It's not low enough to the ground for you to be able to get on top of that. But in a lot of instances, what you will see is there's a wooden fence or a stone fence running right in exact line as the hedge, and what you can do is get on top of that fence and use that fence to jump on top of the hard hedge. Now let's move a little bit further up, and I'll show you a little bit more about parkour and hiding spots and etc. Now, all these spots I'm showing you are pretty common. It's more about the mentality rather than specific spots. Like again, I see a combo right here. That's excellent. I also see where I can get some parkour done. That means anywhere that I can go up on, anything that looks like a staircase of some sort. Like over here, I couldn't get on top of that fence a little bit, but I can use this as a step to get up here, and then I can use this fence to get up even higher, and I can use this to get up even higher than that. And that's what I mean when I say parkour, is basically a staircase up to a location. And this is without even using trucks. When you got trucks or any type of vehicle, you can use those to get up into locations that are otherwise inaccessible. But in this instance, I want to disregard that type of thinking. I'd rather want you to view this as an opportunity, because you won't have a vehicle every time, but you will always have your feet every time to try to get up onto certain places. And remember that when you're up above, avoid skylanding yourself. Don't peek too much over the wall. I mean, like, subconsciously, I'm already putting myself next to the fire chimney. Yeah, they're just called chimneys. But instead of peeking over the edge like this, what I would do instead is have myself positioned here. If the enemy comes close on this side, I can hear them. And that means when they're going past me, I just shoot them in the back. If they're running through the fields here, I can easily shoot them there. But if I'm here and they see me off too far from the distance, I'm exposed on pretty much every single angle. If the enemy's coming from the north, for example, I'm exposed from a very wide angle. But here I'm exposed here, just from the sides. And I still have the ambush position when they go past me, as well as the advantage of hearing them when they get close. Oh. Alright, let's see. How much time do I have here? 20 minutes, that's fine. This compound is great. It has a lot of cool spots that you can hide in. I love using this pretty much anytime I'm playing this map. Again, I'm looking for combos. There we go. We got a fence veg combo right there. There's a combo right there. I might get up on top of the fence, run along to the vegetation, hide myself inside. Bam, there you go. You got height advantage. You got concealment advantage. You got hearing advantage. You don't have the advantage of seeing them too far in the distance, but you kind of do if you position yourself right. This is a cool place too. These plots here, I think, are extremely unutilized. These things are incredible. And by that I mean, if you got the right camo, the US light camo is especially good to hide in these light spots here. Just keep in mind, there's the light spot, there's the dark spot. If you got darker camo, hide yourself in the darker camo. If you got lighter camo, hide yourself in the lighter spot. But basically, go prone in there. You're pretty covered. I can't show you this in third person what it looks like right now, unfortunately. If I had somebody running with me, Daly was supposed to be here. Well, unfortunately, he's not. But if you hide yourself up here, you can't really see much. These leaves are pretty thick. But if you're not moving around, you wait for the enemy to pass, then you pop out, shoot him in the back, bam, there you go, you got a kill. And you keep going. Lots of great bushes for you to hide in, just lots of that. You got a combination here of a white wooden fence and a bush. Always great to have a little bit of height advantage. Over here I'm looking, there's a lot of places you can just get on top of and kill anybody on this side of the fence without actually hopping over the fence. Instead of going into the shed, using the front door, using these barrels, I'm getting up on this floor, jumping over inside there. I can do it from the barrels too. That's an excellent idea. I'm also looking around this compound. I see a lot of soft hedges, meaning that in most cases I can just get on top of them and hide inside. When you're the enemy and you're looking around for somebody who's shooting at you from this general direction, you're looking at the building, you're looking at these open spots, you're looking at the corners of the buildings, corners of the hedges, but checking the actual hedge itself is secondary or tertiary in your order of where you're going to be looking for the enemy to be. This wall is great. Again, combination of vegetation and fence. There's a lot of instances where you can just hop over through the vegetation. The other side is a little bit more difficult. You can hide yourself on top of it. There you go. You can get on top of this soft hedge. You can use this wall to hide in the hedge here. You can get yourself on top of this soft hedge like so and basically control the corner here. The enemy generally likes to use this little corner to move around, so you can ambush them from this corner here. You can even set yourself up in this soft hedge. I like to do that when I play this map. Set myself up inside here and pretty much kill anybody. That's a little off. Kill anybody taking the stairs here. It's hard to see, unfortunately. Right here. I can just shoot them in the back as soon as they get up. I can position myself if I do it right. There we go. I can kill anybody who's coming down this road, anybody who's running here, knowing especially that this is a very likely place for an enemy garrison. They're very likely to run through this open area. I can also get anybody who's running through the trench here. This is a great position to be in. I'm gonna come back to this area a little bit later, but I'm gonna show you a little bit more of what I found to the north. And again, this isn't me showing you the specific spots. This is more of showing a mentality of what I think about when I'm looking for spots. As I'm running through, I'm always on the lookout. Hey, parkour opportunity. Hey, vegetation opportunity. Hey, I see a combination over there. That's actually my next stop. Oh, hey, a ladder. Can I use this to get up? Oh, maybe not that way. What if I... Oh, that worked for some reason. But if I go up a little bit, if I do a few hops, there we go. I got up. If they're attacking from the east, I'm peeking, but I'm also silhouetting myself. May want to control this sector here on the side. There we go. A lot of times when I play this game, I'm not even running on the ground. I'm just hopping over on the fences. They just do parkour like that. So as I was saying, combination, vegetation, wall. There we go. I can hide myself in the vegetation here. If I'm prone, I can control anybody running through that intersection. Anybody in there, it's hard for them to find me. I don't even need to run along the wall to get up here because this is a soft hedge. I can just jump at it from the side while being in cover by the fence. I can use this to get a height advantage over anybody running through the field. And just, it's a lot easier to see anybody running through the field when you have a little bit of height. Let me get the truck because there's going to be a lot of running involved. These you can get on top of, by the way, if you run along at them from the short edge of the geometry. Instead of thinking of things as they appear to be, think of them in terms of boxes. This is a box, this is one corner, this is another corner. This is the long edge, short edge right here, and back down. This is a box, this is a rectangle, and then it extends upward in this kind of same place. That's how game geometry works. It's just a bunch of boxes. Instead of calculating the geometry for each individual stick, for each individual leaf, and etc., it's usually just a box. And that means if it's a box, you can get on top of it. Let's drive a little bit further to the north. And I'll show you guys some cool stuff that I found there. Oh. Good thing I don't need my driver's license here. Again, I'm looking for the combos. Got a lot on the left. I'm looking for a climbing opportunity. Oh, that was the right. Combination, combination, combination. This is a pretty popular spot. A lot of people know about it, but if you're new, you may as well learn about it too. Is, again, when I'm looking for parkour, I'm looking for stairs, and this looks like a staircase to me. There we go. And so what I would do is get on top of that. There we go. You can also run along the fence here, jump on that, get up here. When you're jumping on rooftops, one thing to keep in mind is you want to jump towards corners of the roof. There we go, just like so. You don't want to jump directly onto it. That's how you fail most of the time. But corners is how you want to do it. From height to corner. Same thing here. From height to corner. There we go. We got up on top of this large house. You can go up on the chimneys too if you want. But you're extremely exposed up here. But what's awesome about this is you get a guy with a binocs on here. And this is right by the northern border. So they cannot go past that at all. They cannot even be on the other side of the fence. Unless they want to see a timer. But from up here with the binocs, you can see everybody approaching from the west. They're not going to run through the field that much. Of course, if they do... oh, sorry. You may want to keep somebody in the building just to watch anything that the building is covering for me right now. But they're most likely going to run along the hedge there. If they're coming from the east, they're likely going to be in the compound. Some of them are definitely going to run through the field. Most of them are going to be running along the fence edge here. And you still have some view of the compound itself. If I get up to this here, I can even see a little bit more into the compound itself right next to that building. If you got somebody with binocs, if you put your recon squad up here, get a sniper, get a spotter. This is a really, really great spot to be in. This is just gonna take too long. I'll walk. Again, I'm looking for these staircases as I go. I'm looking for the combinations. Most of the time, you'll find me just running alongside the fences. Or not alongside, on top of them. Great combination here. I might even be able to... yeah, I can hide inside here. And pop out when I need to. This is a great spot. Oh, these barns are actually pretty cool too. Let me get on top of that. I mean, this barn is pretty straightforward. You can get on top of the hay bales here. And shoot anybody that's in that compound without actually going there yourself. And without exposing yourself to be on top of the barn. These little places here. Pretty cool. If you can get yourself a vehicle, you can get up on this roof and then use that to get up on that one. These ones, they look small, they look like they can't really do much, but you can hop over this side and hide yourself in the hay. If you're attacking this point and you want to make sure the enemy doesn't find you, this is a great spot to be in. This is a very thick bush, very large, very thick, and it's even got a tree here. That means if somebody does spot you in here, it can provide you with a little bit of cover if you need to. But you can be in here and pretty much kill anybody going through this compound. Even these small ones here, you can get on top of these boxes if you're prone and hide yourself inside these boxes in the corner here. That's a great spot if you're trying to hide here. A lot of this is just thinking about creatively about the things on the map. This barn here. Let's see. You can hop on this ladder to get up higher. There we go. people entering the barn are always gonna just look down the way first, but you have a little bit of height advantage to check that out. You might even be able to get up there. Let's see if I can do it. Let me try to do it from the fence here instead. Yeah, there we go. Usually inaccessible, but you can get yourself in here and shoot anybody that's entering the barn. You also have these little peepholes that you can use to shoot anybody running along the fence here, etc. Peepholes are great. You can even use these slits here, or these slits here. Oh, this is actually so much cooler, yeah. I didn't even realize this has such a great view of the road. It's fantastic. See, even now, even as a veteran player, I'm still learning new things. Even on a map that I've played hundreds, if not thousands of times at this point. Let me hop over the fence here. If you are careful, you can even get up on this roof here. It's a little more difficult, especially since they did an update that changed how parkour works. Let me see. There we go. But what it used to be that you were able to quickly turn as you were vaulting and stop yourself from going over what you're vaulting over. And so if you're able to get on top of this fence, you can get on top of here, then you can get on top of this rooftop there. I'm not gonna try it right now, it's gonna take too long. You can get yourself on to that rooftop there. It's basically a connect. I already showed you can get up these. I just do a little hop. There we go. You got yourself on this rooftop. You got yourself on this rooftop. Get a little bit of height advantage. Anybody going from the south, anybody going from the east. You can hop over to this rooftop here. Got a little bit of vegetation concealing you if you need to. It's a good place. You can even look into anybody who's camping these windows here and shoot them that way instead. So yeah, a lot of times when I'm playing this game, I'm not following a strict rule set. I'm following a mentality of asking myself, hey, can I do this? Hey, can I try that? Hey, can I get up there? And etc. Let's see, how much time? 5 minutes. I won't be able to cover all that I can cover in here during this. Hopefully I have the server set up so that it changes back to Omaha so I can keep showing you cool stuff. But this is I'll cover this city section for sure. If you have any questions, by the way, anything you want me to cover, even though that timer has 5 minutes left, I'm still going to be streaming. Even if it's not going to be on this server, I might find a public one that's empty and try it out there. This is a great one right here. I only found it recently. But you can jump onto this rooftop here. You can use the corner jump method up, unless you fail like that. Let me get that. I'm going to try that again. I want to see what that looks like. Again, I've only got up there once so far, but it's pretty awesome. Let's see. This might actually be a better option. Looks like I'm getting contacted by Ken. There we go. This corner is possible. Yep, and I can go even higher than that and be on this rooftop instead. That is awesome. You know what? This is a good time for the map flip. I'm gonna ask. There we go. I asked him to do a map flip so it comes back to Omaha. Shout out to BR1 for letting me use their training server or their event server to get this done. we go. You can even get up on these little balconies. Is this geometry? Yeah, that is geometry. I'm curious, actually. I think I've tried it before. I believe it wasn't really possible, or at least it was too difficult for me, but I'll come back to this area when the map flips. Yeah, it's a little tough. I might be able to get up, no, I can't, but I can be here. Alright, I will show you this spot. I got 30 seconds. Might as well. Alright, so from up here you can get up to this rooftop from this little staircase here. You can go up here, and again, when you're doing roof jumps, you can go even further to this rooftop. But remember, whenever you're doing roof jumps, to aim for the corners. And now you're on this rooftop here. You've got an excellent view, pretty much of everything except the south, really. But you got a great view of the fields there. You got a great view of anybody using this route, of anybody using this road. This was a little tough. Anybody to the north. This is an incredible spot. And you can have a little bit of cover here if you need to. But a lot of people do know about it. Or some people know about it. I can still spot a few people using it. Let me actually spot back to yes. Yes is fine, yeah. Command, there we go. I'm going to use a chart to get back. I'm not going to go back there, actually. I'm going to come back from a different angle. And then come back there. Let's see if we can get even more stuff showed up. Alright. Any questions from you guys right now while we're waiting for the match warm-up to drop the wall for me to be able to get back to the fight? Oh, silhouetting is an important part. This is actually a great time for me to talk about it. Especially if you're playing this map, or Utah, and you're playing in the US side and you're trying to attack the Germans. It's a great thing to note is whenever you're playing this, you're looking for any silhouettes up on that ridge. And as a German, being up on that ridge, that is exactly what you want to avoid. Is understand what the enemy is looking for, is your ticket to understanding where you should be. And so as a German, playing offensive and defending from the Americans' attack from the beach, where I would normally station myself isn't up on the ridge, but rather in these bushes up in the middle of it. That means I have camouflage with the actual vegetation. If I'm wearing the correct camo, it blends me even further in. I'm not silhouetting myself. I'm not skylining myself up there. And I have gone through insane kill streaks following that strategy. And I mean, like, to the point where I need multiple full reloads of all of my ammunition, whether it's MG or a sniper and etc. And that's 50 to 100 kill streaks. Let me see, yeah, let's find a path. I don't really remember. I think there's a path up there somewhere. No, that's the border. Oh, right here. Cool trick that you should know if you're ever driving a truck is that if you hold the brake and forward at the same time, you can see the gears at the bottom of the screen going up. That means as soon as the wall drops and I let go of the brake, I am immediately in the highest gear. It's a little bit of a time saver in official matches that can be extremely important. I'd say in official matches, you want to make sure that most of your team is already lined up at the wall and your trucks are at the highest gear before it even drops. It's a cool little trick. I use it constantly. Let's see. This is actually a good house to show off, yeah. These are extremely common, pretty easy to spot. The way to get that you can use to get up on these. There you go, bam, simple, easy. A lot of people use it. Even new people might notice it. This is also an interesting way to get at some height advantage. Just running along the wall of this broken down building. This is a great house. You should definitely know this house. It's very common. It's on every map, or most maps. Russian maps don't have them. But you can, obviously you can use the stairs to get up on the highest floor. What you can also do is jump over and hide inside the roof a little bit. In some situations that can give you a great advantage. What you can also do is aim for the corners on both sides. You can do it from both sides. I generally prefer going left. It's a little easier. And once you're here, you just do a little hop and you can get up on the roof here. You can get up on the chimney if you need to, but that's just asking to get killed. And you can get a great view around by being on a rooftop. If you're playing on Carrington, you find this kind of house. There's plenty of them. But you might not be able to. Carrington has more geometry limitations than the other maps. In terms of height, some houses it will work on, other ones it will not. Let's keep going. Again, as I'm running through, I'm looking for the combinations of fence and vegetation. It's great. I'm looking for parkour opportunities. I don't really see much right now. Nothing I can use to hop over the fence. This might be good enough. This might be close enough to use it, but that's generally what I'm looking out for. Parkour and any hiding spots and etc. as I'm going through. These barns are common enough. Funnels are great. You can hide inside of them. Pretty simple. What you can also do is if you get yourself up on this, there we go. You're able to, generally speaking. Oh, it was actually a different barn. It's the one next door that I was using, but you can get up there sometimes. This barn is a little bit easier. There you go. You get up on the second floor. You think that the floor is clear, but no, you get shot. You're wondering, oh, damn, who got me out of nowhere? Well, that's because somebody's hiding even higher up in this little attic area. What's nice about the little attic area, I talked about the slits earlier. You can use these. You can shoot through them. Be aware you can be shot through them as well. But it's a lot safer than otherwise. But if you go prone on the corners here, you can use these little slits to get a jump on the enemy as well. You can also run alongside the bars here. I forget what they're called. To get up on the other side. It's a little easier. You can get up using the ladder here too, but I find that it's just a time saver to use the hay bales to get up here instead. Next thing I want to show you guys is the orchards. And again, this isn't about specific spots. This is about a mentality, a way to play the game. And so orchards, there's a small one right here, but these can be unexpectedly advantageous for you. Generally, if it's a large enough orchard, it's kind of annoying. Sometimes I run through crouched instead just so I can get a better view of who's there or not. But what I'm on the lookout inside the orchard are these ladders next to the trees, because what you can do is you can jump on top of the ladder, and that can give you a little bit of height advantage if you position yourself right. That can mean you have vegetation in front of you and the enemy, and because they're generally not looking up in the orchards, you can get a cool advantage on them that way. But what you can also do, oh, I jumped over that, is if you do it right, you can hop on top of the tree, and you can be on top of the tree here. It's a very tight spot. It's basically it's not even a rectangular collision box. It is more of a pointed one, I believe. so sometimes it's hard. Most of the time you're just going to be vaulting over it, but if you do it right with some practice, you can get on top of it. If you're positioning yourself right, that the big branch is between you and the enemy, that gives you a nice cover, and it makes it a lot harder for them to see you. Just make sure you're wearing the proper camo. Even the smaller branch can work too. I don't recommend being prone, because you're creating a horizontal line, and it's a lot easier to spot you that way. Again, I'm gonna look out for combinations. That's a good one right there. Funnels are the next thing that I want to show you. Oh, that's a climbable opportunity there. Well, good combination. But funnels are the thing that I want to show you guys next. Funnels are very interesting. There's a lot of them on pretty much every map. But what you can do is, if it's positioned right, you can get on top of them. You can always get on top of them with a vehicle, but in this instance, let me actually change my camera. Why is my camera still down there? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So you can always get on top of them using a vehicle if you park it close enough, but if not, always look for opportunities to get on top of them. In this instance, first step to getting on top of the funnel is to get on top of the wooden beam. Once you're on the wooden beam, you want to get to this longer one that's a little bit higher. You want to walk back a little bit, and you want to hop forward. You're not sprinting forward, you're just hopping forward. If you're too close, you're going to get bounced back. You might fall off. But once you're on top of the funnel, that gives you a height advantage. You can be inside of it. You can hide inside of it. You can pop over. But again, be careful, because you are silhouetting yourself. And a lot of people know to be on the lookout for these at the same time. Sometimes if somebody is close, you hear somebody close, keep in mind that movement will be spotted. You can see your feet sticking out just a little bit. But what's more important is that you can be shot through the funnel itself. It does block a little bit of the damage, but with a high caliber gun, you will be shot and you will be killed through these funnels. So keep that in mind. Let's keep going north. Is there anything else that I wanted to show you on this map? I mean, this house is pretty basic. You can hide underneath the stairs if you need to. Keep that in mind. That's a pretty common one. Again, combinations. I'm always on the lookout for these popping opportunities. You cannot go inside that little backyard area, so that's going to be blocked off. But you can jump over this way. That's a common one. I wish I could show you mines, but I can't. Not with anybody else on the server here right now. Opportunity. There we go. Lots of opportunity with this bush here to hide inside of it, to get a little bit of height advantage. Let's go up even higher, and if I'm prone, I can get a nice view of the road. Bam. Can I get up here? I haven't tried yet. I doubt it. No. That's too steep of an angle. Oh, but I might be able to use this. There we go. Let me try that. There we go. Look at that. I've never been up on this rooftop before. I'm curious. No, I think that's too much of a jump. Yeah. And that little drop on a slightly lower section broke my sprint. Don't forget that you can hide inside these too. You don't just have to be on the other side of these little carts. You can be inside of them too if you need to. Just think creatively. Think outside the box. Norm will get you killed. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember. I wanted to go back to the crossroads up there. Anybody got any questions? Anything they want me to cover? Surprisingly enough, a lot about guerrilla warfare isn't really that much about sneaking. It's more about moving correctly. Let me see. Yep, I can hop over this way. Sneaking is kind of... You can always sneak if you need to. You can always go prone and crawl away and etc. You can always do that. That doesn't really take that much intelligence to do. But understanding how the enemy moves will get you so much further in this game than pretty much anything else. Now in this instance right here... Oh, yeah, this is a great house to show off. You can get up here. This is one thing you can definitely do. I just gotta remember how I usually do it. This little corner you can hide in. Might be able to give you a nice unique angle on anybody going down the road. It also gives you cover from anybody going from the north if you need to. You can hide under the stairs if you need to. All of these things are tools. Everything goes into your toolbox and you just pick them out as you go, but being able to think about it. You can also get up on this little section. I tried to make the jump from here, but you can also do it from the stair barrier here, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called, but yeah, you can get up here as well. You can use these windows to shoot out. Gives you a little cool area there. You can go prone in these houses. You are exposed a little bit here, but depending how the house is positioned on the whatever map that you're playing on, that will definitely give you an advantage. These... Is that a... Yeah, that's just a common shed. I already showed that. These are interesting, these camo nets. They're interesting because they have collision geometry. That means you can be on top of them. And at a far enough distance, if you go prone, it's very hard to see you. Unfortunately, it moves your camera around, so I can't go down right now. I can't move my gun further down. But if you position yourself right, like so, you can shoot through the camo netting. It looks like I'm hitting it, and I am, but it is actually hitting the wall behind it too. You might be able to see some little dust on the other side. And what's interesting is that if you go far enough away from it, and I'll show that to you, it looks like it's getting thicker. So at close range, it could be pretty easy to spot you. It's still unexpected, so it gives you that surprise advantage, but at a far enough distance, it's just too thick for somebody to notice. And on top of being it, having it be a surprise advantage. This is a great area. Inside here, you can hide in these bushes there. You can hide in OP there. You can go pretty deep into these. You can even get a little height advantage here, too. Let's see. Have I tried jumping over? I think it might be possible. I'm not sure. I'm not going to do it right now, though. Can I do that? Yeah, there we go. Haven't tried that before, but I got it first try. Got a combination here. Let's see if we can work that out. Sometimes you get pushed off, but it looks like you can. If somebody's attacking from the east, you might hide in the bushes here. Pop out. You don't even need to pop out. You can just shoot through the hole here. And they're going to be confused where you're shooting them from. You can go prone if you need to. This is actually... No, this kind of hits the hedge, so that might not work out. This is actually the area where I was talking about that ambush that I did, where I was giving that example. And I can show that to you in person right now. It's that, I was up here. This is where my first position was. It was up here on this house. I was hiding behind this chimney here. The enemy was attacking from the west, and I decided not to peek because that would be skyling myself. I don't know exactly which direction they were going to be coming from. That could be seen from a lot of different angles, so I decided not to peek and just pretty much stay relatively still and look out to the sides. I then heard the enemy pass underneath me. I did not know how many there were initially. I think I heard 2, maybe 3 initially, but I let them get past me because I knew that the next area is going to be in the open, and so I just waited for that to happen. I let my teammates know, of course, that they were coming this way, and then that's where I started ambushing. That's where I downed. Actually, no, I think I failed downing. But anyway, they kept going, but they were scared to proceed even further because of the ambush psychology. I covered that a bit earlier. And so at some point I was spotted. They started shooting at me, so I fell back. And that's where that secondary hiding spot is important to note. I fell back. I put myself, I believe it was around here. Yeah, somewhere around here. And so because of that, because they were in their enemy's territory, they decided not to keep going with knowing that there's somebody behind them trying to kill them. And so they decided to forgo their attack plan and try to kill me instead. And so they were coming down the road to try to find me. They were coming alongside the house to try to find me. They were coming along up here to try to find me. And so one by one, I just popped them all, killed them, and took out that entire squad. And this was actually the first instance of me trying out the guerrilla warfare strategy gameplay style. But this was certainly not the last. I've gone through many instances of ambushing an entire squad of people and slaughtering all of them. I am well known within my unit for being a sneaky bastard. And not only by the infantry, but also by the tankers. I generally play AT, and so I rack up a lot of tank kills. So they're constantly afraid of being snuck up by Cerberus. I killed this location. I covered that a little bit earlier, but you can see it in person here. This is what I call the Death Valley, and because of its positioning, because of how this map is set up, a lot of people are just going to use that route to get their vehicles into the fight. And so if you're playing AT, if you're playing a commander, this is a great place to always have some kind of controlling presence in. That means if you're playing AT, you want to set up mines along the road, or set up ambush points with a bazooka to shoot any tanks that are coming through. Maybe find a place to hop over on top of the tank to get a satchel on. Usually they're running at really fast speed, so you won't be able to hop on top of the tank from the ground. So it's a good idea to find a spot where the tank is close enough to some kind of object that you can use to hop over. For example, this little shed here, or this little ridge right here to hop on top of the tank, get a satchel on. This is also good too if you get along on top of the fence here. And so the reason why I again said the commander should know about this is AT has a limited amount of ammunition they can use, and so I always, when I'm playing AT, I always ask the squad leader to tell the commander to drop ammunition behind the enemy line somewhere near my position, so that I can just keep going, keep destroying enemy armor. Let's see. Answer from somebody. Okay. This is a cool little shed that you should know about as well. You can get behind it and you can jump on top, hide in the bushes. Gives you height advantage, gives you that view of the Death Valley Road. But generally speaking, that is what I wanted to show you. Let me take a look at my list, because there's a lot of things that I haven't covered yet. Silhouettes using vegetation, game arms for movement. Yep, I did that. Camo. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Let me swap over to my slides and do that instead. There we go. Let me take a look. There we go. Silhouettes are very important. I covered it a little bit earlier, but this is nice to keep in mind. So out of these three silhouettes, the most obvious one to see, and that silhouettes, I mean like the shape of a soldier. A is the easiest to see. You can pretty much see the entirety of the enemy soldier. C is slightly harder to see because some of the body is covered, but you can still see the shape of the head. If they're a little bit higher, you can see the shape of the rifle. And this is also what's called skylining. You're exposing your silhouette. The shape of your body is contrasted by the background behind you. So if you're on top of buildings like so, a lot of the times what you want to do is either not peek over the top, or if you do, try to make sure that there's something high behind you, like a tree or another building, that breaks off that skyline silhouette, that breaks it up. For example, like the soldier that's hiding in a bush. Oh, let me go back. There we go. Like the soldier hiding in a bush completely broke off his silhouette. You cannot tell that there's a person inside of it just from looking at this. Of course, with bushes, it breaks off your ability to see that well. So a lot of times I'm not even inside the bush. I'm actually behind the bush and waiting for the enemy to come up on the sides and hit him on the side. A lot of times with even if you're running along the hedge, what is interesting to note is that in a lot of situations, and I'll go back to the game view for this actually. A lot of times I'm not behind the hedge. If there is an enemy, let me find a good hedge. There's some over there. Let's just pretend that this is a hedge. If, for example, the enemy is on the other side, I'm not running behind the hedge. In some situations, let me use this hedge instead. So if the enemy's on the other side, if they're far in the distance there, I'm not hiding behind the hedge. Sometimes, I mean, I do that a lot, but still, I kind of peek on the sides. Instead, what I like to do sometimes, and it's situation dependent, and if I have the right camo, is I'm actually in front of it. My silhouette, if I have the right camo, my silhouette is broken by having the hedge behind me, and so I shoot at them in front of the hedge. This is obviously a risky strategy to use, but it has worked out many times for me. And so if you're thinking about it in terms of how the enemy is looking at it, let's say they're in this fence here and they just heard shots from this direction, then they're not sure exactly. The first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna look at the sides. When we first started learning to play this game, a lot of us have realized that this gameplay is different, and so we either consciously or subconsciously started looking at it from the point of view of, hey, the enemy is most likely shooting from the sides of the hedges, shooting from what I call holes, either from the building, either from the sides of hard object like this hard hedge, and so they're not expecting me to shoot directly from the hedge itself. So that slight little advantage can get you a long way, and that's pretty much what this game is. In order for you to survive longer than most, is gaining these little slight advantages that over time stack up to give you a much greater advantage over the enemy. When running along fences, let's see, is there a good I don't really see a good example area around here, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore that point for now. But I was talking about, oh yeah, well, let's go back to the slides. So I talked about the silhouettes. Colors, that's the camouflage. A few important ones to know. Of course, you got your snow camo. The Germans have their dark camo. Those are important ones for the winter maps. Again, avoid contrasts. That is the only real point that you want to keep in mind as you're playing is avoid contrasts. So if you're wearing something light, don't be in front of something dark. If you're wearing something dark, don't be in front of something light. And that's the basic case. If I'm playing a snow map and I'm running around in white camo, I generally avoid being inside houses. I avoid being inside cities because there's a lot of dark areas, dark walls that are on every single side of you. And so if I'm wearing white camo, I'm on the fields, I'm on the outskirts. If I'm playing dark camo, it's actually a little bit more interesting because dark camo is extremely useful in snow maps. Number one, like I mentioned, being inside the cities is important to have dark camo on to avoid having light on it. Unless you're on a rooftop that has snow on it. That's really the only instance where that works. But dark camo, put yourself in front of a building, inside a building, etc. It's so much harder to see you. But also trees. Trees on snow maps are extremely useful for anybody with dark camo because you can be behind them, you can be in front of them, and use that to break off your silhouette. Cool thing to note, since I'm already talking about the dark camo over here on the side, always have something to break up your face color, because unless you're playing on a Russian map and you're in the field, the light skin tone is easily spotted everywhere. So if I can, and really only the Germans have that option, unless you have some DLCs. I don't know exactly which ones. I don't have any DLCs. But you want to break as much of that face skin as possible. That's why I always have camo netting when I'm playing German. That's why whenever I'm playing Russian, I make sure to wear the ushanka that covers the sides of the head. Recon especially excellent when you get that unlock for like really thick face netting. That is pretty much, you never run without it ever. Other important colors to note is you got your dark greens, you got your light greens, and you got your forest camo. I guess Russian, I would call that forest camo too, even though it blends into the fields better. But Russians don't really have, like for Hill 400 style maps that they go through. You can use that camo to hide in Smolensk, for example, a little easier. In some cases, you can use snow camo to hide in Smolensk if you're hiding in front of the lighthouses. Or if you're going through smoke. Smoke is actually extremely useful if you're running snow camo. You can hide extremely easily in there using smoke. I'm not going to go over lines of sight. That's an advanced topic that I don't want to hit up yet. I guess one last thing I will mention before I do anything else, and I don't think I will, is how to use the windows correctly inside houses. When you are looking for somebody in the house, you're obviously looking at the doorways, you're looking at the windows first, if somebody's shooting you from there. And if you are extremely close to the window, let me go up a little higher, it's extremely easy to spot you and kill you. But what you want to do is you want to be inside the room, you want to be deep inside the room, you want to lessen that angle and kill enemies from the inside as much as possible. You don't want to stay too close to the window, like so. I mean, you would still do it if you need to, if somebody's too close. But I would, after doing that, I would run back inside the room and go back deep into it. These are the topics that I wanted to cover. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have anything that they want me to talk about? I was hoping to get more people on, honestly, for this session, but a lot of people were busy specifically for today. But they should be available to join in next week, to hop in next week. And this is a weekly thing that I'm going to be doing every week. For any new players that want to learn how to play the game a little bit better, just doing it live. And for anybody who wants to learn specific tips or tricks. I talked about camo netting since I'm already here. I talked about camo netting for a little bit. And I can show you what I did a few days ago when I was playing this map. And I was attacking the point, the last point by myself. I was playing German. I was attacking, was it the middle point? No, I think it was the south point. Yeah. It was the south. But the concept is the same no matter where you are on this beach. And so I pretty much solo capped that point. And even though the enemy was close to it, even though the enemy was running from middle HQ and they were constantly shooting at me, they were constantly trying to kill me, all of them were missing because of one thing. And I don't just mean infantry, I'm talking about tanks too. There was tons of explosions around me, there was tons of fire coming my way, but all of them missed me because of one thing. That one thing is camo netting. I was hiding on top of the camo netting, and I talked about it earlier. And I did take a few shots, but even still, it's such an unexpected place to be that nobody was bothering to actually look for me there. And so I managed to cap that entire point and win the match, just from this little tip right here. All of that fire, all of those explosions were underneath me. They were trying to shoot at all of these holes where you would normally expect the enemy to be. Oh, gotta reload. Yeah, they were all shooting around me, etc. They were all shooting at this ground level, but nobody was shooting up. Oh, and that pretty much covers that. That's what I wanted to go over. This is a lot of pretty much most of what I cover in my guerrilla warfare course, and that is something I developed for my unit. That unit being the 16th IR. And if you're not part of a unit, I definitely recommend joining one. You can get a lot of great gameplay, you can find a lot of cool people, but just being inside of a unit, whether it's 16th, whether it's BR1, whether it's Syndicate or whatever, just hop into a unit. If you don't like it there at that unit, join a different unit. But you can get a lot of cool events that you can attend to through a unit, a lot of interesting gameplay, different type of gameplay, like for example the 16th, we run one life events, and these are far more controlled. Interesting. Cool. I didn't know I could do that. One life events are basically just you have one life per round. Each round is 20 minutes, and there's 3 rounds per game. And so first round, both sides are attacking the middle point, whatever that is. And EF, for example, artillery battery. EF is the contested area that they're both trying to get. Contested area means both teams can be in there. Friendly territory, in this case, for allies, that's G and everything to the east. That means you can be in there, but the enemy cannot enter that area. And so the opposite would be A through D. Germans can be in there, but the allies cannot go in there. And so you have those friendly areas on the sides, and you have that contested area in the middle. That's your play area. You're fighting over that. You got 20 minutes to control the point. Whoever controls the point, and you have 1 life again, whoever controls that point wins the round. And so the second round starts 5 minutes after that. There's 5 minutes in between each round, and so it's round 2. The winning team would attack the next point, In this case, let's say allies won battery, then round two they would go and attack orchards, and the defenders have 5 minutes between matches to get their defenses up. And anybody who died during the first round, if they respawn on orchards and they start building defenses there. And third round, no matter who wins the second round, it's back to battery. That means whoever won the first round defends battery. Whoever lost the first round attacks battery. And because of a one life rule, that is actually where it becomes very interesting. That means your strategies, the way you move, is far more limited. You don't want to expose yourself too much. You want to make sure that you get kills instead of just downs. Because if you're downed, a medic can still pick you up. You can still talk to your teammates. You can tell them, like, hey, I hear somebody next to me. But if you're dead, you cannot talk to your teammates at all. And so a lot of us, what we do is, after downing somebody, if we didn't manage to get that headshot, after downing somebody, we're coming in close, throwing a frag on the bodies to completely annihilate them. Medics are far more important in this kind of game mode. We try to keep them alive, we try to keep them back, and we try to make sure that their path to the cleared friendly who is down is clear, so that not only is the medic alive after picking that person up and is able to pick them up, but everybody else is alive too. That is what I wanted to cover with this. There's a lot that I haven't covered yet. There's cool things that I wanted to go over as well. More stuff about how to make defenses, how to place mines. Mines are especially a great topic to talk about, because you can do a lot of nasty shit with mines. Defensive structures is definitely something I want to do a session on. I find that a lot of people have no idea how to make defenses correctly, how to place things down correctly. They leave a lot of holes, and a lot of times it's actually more useful for the enemy than for your teammates, and that sucks to see. One thing that I'll say right now about the defenses is that the defenses, a lot of people have the mentality of, hey, I need to put these things around the point to make sure that nobody gets in, and that is a shit way of thinking about it. What you want to do instead is make sure that defenses are used to control the movement of the enemy. You want to funnel the enemy into those into kill zones. You don't want to block off the point. You want to funnel the enemy. It's all about control with defenses. There's a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to cover. Lines of sight, angles. That is definitely a topic that I want to cover in the future. Just a little bit of further. So it's not about the general stuff that we learn about knowing where to look. It's more about understanding how the enemy looks around as they're moving. It's about understanding the difference between a wide angle, for example, when you're playing MG, or when you're stationed up on a house, or etc. The difference between having a wide angle and having a thin angle, I guess you could say, having a short angle. And a lot of times short angles are so much better to have than wide angles. It's an unutilized aspect, I think, in a lot of instances of this game. Let's see, what else did I want to go over? Oh, Carrington. I did want to show Carrington in the future. Carrington is insane for parkour. It's just amazing what you can get up to in there. So that's definitely going to be a future portion that I'll be going over. Let's see. Satchels. I did a little bit of talking about satchels, but there's some hands-on uh, viewpoints of hands-on perspective that I definitely don't mind doing that. Solo versus squad movement. Yeah, I could definitely go over solo versus squad. Definitely could go over more about recon placements, where to get garrisons, nodes. Nodes, this is actually an important one. I'll type that into my list. Nodes. Let's see, when to stay versus when to move. That is an important one. I did go through it a little bit, but it could definitely done better, or can definitely be done better with a little bit more practical explanation in person. But I'll need somebody else to hop in and join me for that. And so, let's see. Anybody else got any other ideas of what I should cover? My arm looks weird. It looks like my arm is being eaten by one of my pups. Ah, damn you. Get my arm out. Nah, he's a good boy. Where's my arm? It's missing. Ah, oh, there we go. There we go. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Ah, but yeah. That's pretty much it. Unless somebody else has anything they want me to cover right now, I'm gonna be hopping out. Again, this stream, I'm gonna be this specific type of stream. Rather, I'll be doing every week on Saturdays at 10 a.m. The other streams that I do are on weekdays around the same time, and that's EST for anybody who's in this time zone, where you can view it there. Apart from that, I'm still not sure about my schedule yet as far as the weekday streams go. It's still in the air, especially next week. Next week is going to be really busy, but generally, you can also follow me on X, and that's where I'm going to be dropping pings for people who are interested in getting an immediate message of saying like, hey, this stream's coming up. You can always follow me for that, of course. That's actually easier. But that is it. That is it. I got nothing else that I want to cover today. And so thank you for joining me. This was a blast. I've done this course for my unit many times, but this is slightly different than what I used to. In some instances, I've gone deeper than I would go with in my course. In some instances, I haven't touched on a few objects, and I mentioned some of them already. And I'll be doing that in the next sessions. The overall the overall thing to note is that this stream is made exactly for like training purposes. This is for anybody who wants to learn things. And so if you want to learn something else that I haven't covered today, if you missed out on things that I've already covered today, same time next week, I'll be doing the same exact thing. Well, not the same exact thing. I'm gonna be doing stuff that I haven't covered yet. I might definitely hit on some things that I've already covered today, but there's gonna be stuff that I haven't covered today. And then this is also a format that allows you, the viewer, to send a message in chat and ask me, hey, I'm curious about this portion of Hell Let Loose. I want to figure out where I'm getting shot from. I don't know where the enemy is coming from. I don't know where to position myself. That kind of thing. This is the place for you to ask these questions. And so that is it for the stream. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.